Good morning. I am not gonna lie, I am not feeling it. I'm feeling us chatting, but the cold, it's just the most extraordinary thing. You think you're over it, and then it slaps you around the face like a wet kipper. It fills your head with unimaginable monsters that go, it gets behind the eyes. It's everywhere. Anyway, we have to carry on, don't we? I am 100% Lemsip today and raring to go. It's the Thursday car chat because I'm at college, and obviously Thursday car chat's actually quite good because it's off the back of Prime Minister's questions, which I just is becoming a more behavioural observation for me than a political one, and I'm observing the behaviour of all of them. Lee Anderson from Reform asked Keir Starmer if he was going to commit to the local elections in May, if they were going to be a thing again. And Keir Starmer blusters. In his response, he's really blustering. He doesn't answer the question, obviously he doesn't answer the question, but he really blusters with his headline points that he just wants to throw back. So he's projecting back, he's defending, he's gone into automatic defence mode. He's got no intention of answering the question whatsoever. And he goes into bully, belittle, condescend and patronise mode. And the only way you can do that is by throwing insults out and by throwing shade, the kids call it, throwing shade on Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson. Now, I'm not suggesting that they should not be held to account for some of their actions. I'm not suggesting any MP shouldn't be held to account for some of their actions, but it wasn't the question. The question was, are we going to have local elections in May? And he cannot and will not answer it. And then Kemi Badenoch, who, you know, as I say, and we can chart this, I wasn't not a fan, but I wasn't convinced about Kemi. And recently, everything I see from her in Prime Minister's questions tells me that she has got found solid foundations. She's very matter of fact. You know, I like matter of fact. She's very well researched. And while she does a few asides and she does a few of the funnies, in the main, she focuses on the job and she's relentless. I mean, and my kids say I'm like a pepperami, I just don't stop, you know, bit between the teeth, all of that, and they're big enough teeth to fit a bit between, ho ho, haven't heard that before. But, you know, she's dogged in her approach, and she questions Keir Starmer, and he refers to her as she, and to be fair, in some of her responses she refers to him as he, but you kind of have to see it to hear the intonation. You have to hear how that word he and she is used. And with Keir Starmer, the more he's challenged by Kemi Badenoch, the more aggressive he becomes. And I've said this before, and it's an uncomfortable thing to say because it has got connotations, but I'm talking directly in context with the communication by Keir Starmer as a Prime Minister. I think he is coercive. I think he's a bully. I think he uses his language specifically and his tone and his reflections to, well, his reflections on what he said, not what other people have said, because that would mean that he actually has to take it on board. But I think he uses it and the way that he chops and changes, he's coercive. And Kemi Badenoch is talking about the budget, and Keir Starmer says all she does every week is get up and stand there and speculate. Very dismissive, very not answering the question. All she does. And you know, we've all heard the phrase, who's she, the cat's mother? Can we not descend to those levels? If we are in Prime Minister's questions in the Houses of Parliament, can we be respectful? Could we please? Would that be okay? I would not speak to a colleague at college like that. I would not. Well, I just wouldn't do it to anyone. It's just not a thing, is it? Unless you're in an argument where you feel like you're on the back foot and you've got no other ammunition to use. And that we see in kids, that we see in children's behaviour. So he says all she does is speculate. And literally everyone is screaming both at the television and in Parliament, Rachel Reeves did an unprecedented press conference where she spoke about what she was thinking about doing in the budget. It couldn't have been more explicit. This wasn't implicitly implied, it was explicitly implied. We heard from Rachel Reeves about fixing the foundations, the tough choices, all of their language where they won't rule out what they've got to do. They won't rule out what they want to do. They won't rule out what they're thinking of doing. It's all there for anyone to have. And of course, we're now blaming the media. We're blaming the journalists. It's their fault for whipping this up into a furore. It's all their fault. Where's it come from? It's come from Rachel Reeves's own mouth. It's come from Keir Starmer's own mouth. It's come from his lack of ability to answer a question. And yet, because it's easier for him just to bat that back to Kemi, and in such disparaging terms, in such a dismissive, bullying, condescending, he's trying to gain power. He's trying to use his words to become more powerful than her. He's trying to diminish her. But what he's actually doing is diminishing his own character. He's stooping to a level that does not befit a prime minister. Of course, he's not the first. We've seen this before. But nobody's learning, are they? Which is where I'm beginning to think Kemi Badenoch actually could go the distance, because she is learning. And, you know, we're never... Do I agree with all of her policies? Well, no, I don't. Am I a stalwart Tory? No, I'm really not. But do I believe that this country is an absolute shambles at the minute, and we've got to have someone who is actually there to do the job, not to win a popularity contest, not to be the next I Am, not to go down in history, not to have books written about themselves, not to swan around the world on book tours and all of that kind of stuff, but actually wants to do the job? I think it's her. I do. And I've formulated that opinion over the past, probably I've cemented that opinion over the past 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I think there's definitely potential for Reform and the Conservatives to work together on a lot of stuff. I think there's definitely potential for an amalgamation there. And I think there could be actually something amazing, if I'm truly honest. But we shall see how that plays out, won't we? You know, it's so dangerous to say, yes, I back that pony, and then next week they do something ridiculous. But certainly in terms of performance and Keir Starmer's unravelling of himself, he is cracking under pressure. I mean, Rachel Reeves, that stony face, that woman, she is not having a good time, is she? And she's really, you know, every jaw clench, every scowl, every looking at the book, you know, you can see it. It's like there's a ticker tape on her forehead telling us how stressed she is. We know it. We can see it, you know, and yet the only time she can smile is when she gets validation from Keir. The only time that she can, oh, I'm safe, the boss said it was okay. And that in itself, that level of power, and power imbalance, that's a real worry. And that whole side seemed to be at sea, completely fish at sea. And then they are being led, back to the coercive point, by somebody who has such a desire for power that it's completely overshadowing the job in hand. In my humble opinion, anyway. Who cares what I think? Well, 50,000 people like talking about it. I'm sorry, I did say yesterday that I was going to try and do a live stream. You can see what happened. I hit the wall, and yeah, it was a bit tricky. But we move, we go on. It's an absolutely stunning day today. Freezing Brassic cold. Still haven't gone the heating route though. My kids hate me. But the electric blanket, Aldi's electric blanket, and they've got them back in, by the way. They've got the cream ones. They're £22. So it's, you know, you kind of got to think about it before you put it in your trolley. Well, you actually have got to think about it before you put it in your trolley. But I can say that even if we get through until Sunday without having to have the heating on by using our electric blankets at night, and the kids having their hour with their vortex heater. It is making a difference. And I've also ordered the foil stuff that goes down the back of the radiators, so it's like insulated foil stuff, and you put it down the back of the radiator and it bashes it back out into the room. I mean, obviously we will only know if it works when I turn the radiators on, so I could be getting back to you on that one in January, because this is what I keep saying to the children. It's cold now, it's going to be a long winter. If we use all our heating credits up now, what are we going to do in January and February? Got to think carefully about this stuff. So the heated blanket and the insulatory stuff for another day. Any other tips, gratefully appreciated. I've got all the draft excluders. I have shutters and curtains. I actually keep my shutters shut in the front rooms of the house. So our house faces east. So it's beautiful in the morning when you get the sun through the windows. Not anymore, it's not. No, keep the shutters shut. Keep the heat in from the night before, which actually really upsets me because I love seeing the sunlight. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, I'm rambling. I've got to go to college. This, as ever, has been gorgeous. I'm sorry about the croaky croaks, but I'm not the only one, am I? If you're feeling the same way that I am, dig deep. It's got to go soon, hasn't it? It's relentless. And honestly, it's that, oh, I'm feeling a bit better. Oh, no, I'm not.